For weeks, anticipation built around the youngest White House press secretary, Karoline Leavitt, and her upcoming appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. In this upcoming showdown, Colbert is ready to question her at every turn, until one particular accusation pushes Karoline to fire back harder than ever. Will she hold her ground against the famous late-night host, or will he expose cracks in her polished image? Stay tuned to find out. But before we dive in, help us reach our first big milestone of 1,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button and give this video a like. Every click brings us closer to our goal. Under the bright studio lights of The Late Show, the crew buzzes with excitement as the audience files in. Behind the curtain, Karoline Leavitt checks her phone. 728,000 followers on X, formerly Twitter, are already lighting up her mentions, urging her to stand firm against Stephen Colbert. This is not just another TV appearance for her. It's a shot at proving that the Trump White House's new breed of communication, fueled by social media, can outmaneuver mainstream talk shows. Karoline adjusts her blazer. She's blending Gen Z style, sporty white sneakers, a tailored jacket, with the poise of a seasoned political figure. It's a delicate balance she perfected over the last few years. She recalls the moment she accepted the role of press secretary at 27, with many claiming she was too young and inexperienced to handle the pressure. Yet here she stands, about to walk onto one of America's biggest late-night stages, just months after Trump secured a second term. Meanwhile, Stephen Colbert pores over his note cards, fully aware that this is no ordinary guest. Ever since Karoline started making waves with her unapologetic statements, like calling Canada on its knees after the White House slapped tariffs, media outlets have scrambled to cover her. Some call her a Trump mouthpiece. Others say she's the voice of young conservatism. Colbert has his own angle. He plans to challenge Karoline on everything from the press ban, excluding AP and Reuters from cabinet meetings, to the controversial Russia-Ukraine peace deal Trump brokered. Remember to subscribe if you haven't yet. We're pushing hard to reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support helps us bring stories like this to life. The stage manager cues the band, the opening music hits, and the audience roars. Stephen Colbert takes a spotlight, greeting fans and introducing his guest. Tonight, we have the youngest press secretary in American history. She's made headlines, stirred plenty of debate, and is here to tell us why she calls Donald Trump the GOAT. Give it up for Karoline Leavitt. Karoline strides confidently onto the stage, a composed smile on her face. She waves to the crowd, half cheering, half booing. Colbert waits, giving a cordial handshake and ushering her to a chair. No time is wasted. Colbert leaning forward with a grin. Karoline, welcome. At 27, you're the youngest press secretary in U.S. history. First question. Does working for Donald Trump ever feel like babysitting a man who won't grow up? A ripple of laughter spreads through the audience. Karoline's smile tightens a fraction. Karoline, tilting her head, voice calm. Thanks for the welcome, Stephen. And no, I don't babysit. I work with the greatest of all time. Trump is the GOAT, and he's saving America. My job is to make sure that story is told straight. No filters. Right away, Colbert pivots to her statement about Canada. Her viral comment, Canada is on its knees. Colbert, you said Canada needs us more than we need them. Isn't that the opposite of good neighborly relations? Karoline, shrugging lightly, Stephen, that's basic economics. They rely on us, so we use that leverage. America has to stand strong. If some people can't handle straight talk, that's on them, not on us. Scattered applause. Some in the crowd clearly backed Karoline's confidence, while others murmured disapproval. Colbert locks eyes with her, a mischievous twinkle there. Colbert, you mentioned straight talk. Okay, then let's do that. Why ban AP and Reuters from cabinet meetings? You're not just speaking straight. You're silencing voices. Karoline lifts her chin. This is familiar territory. Karoline, silencing? No. We're filtering out the outlets that twist facts. Americans are tired of old media spin. If they can't report honestly, they don't get a front row seat. That's not silencing. That's accountability. And thus the battle lines are drawn, with each camp and the audience riled up. In the control room, Producers watch the ratings monitor spike as the live feed sizzles with tension. The camera zooms in on Colbert's face, revealing a mixture of curiosity and resolve. Colbert, Karoline, you say it's about accountability, but the press is a cornerstone of democracy. Do we really want a government picking which reporters can question it? Karoline, firm smile. The cornerstone is honest press. Stephen, when AP and Reuters keep pushing an anti-Trump narrative, the public sees it. Trust is earned, not demanded. We're simply choosing who gets in based on credibility. The audience reacts with a chorus of cheers and jeers. Colbert stands, leaning toward the crowd. Colbert addressing them. So, the White House decides which media are credible? That's like letting the fox guard the henhouse. He turns back to Karoline. If you're so confident in Trump's accomplishments, why block tough questions? Karoline meets his gaze without blinking. Karoline, because it's not tough questions we oppose, it's false narratives. President Trump's results speak for themselves. Jobs up, war averted, the economy humming. And I communicate that message straight to the people on X and TikTok. We don't need old school spin. Her mention of TikTok elicits mixed laughter from the crowd. Karoline has famously used her social media accounts to deliver quick sound bites, appealing directly to Gen Z. Critics say she glosses over nuance, but fans claim it's more transparent than traditional press conferences. Quick break. If you're enjoying this conversation or maybe yelling at your screen, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and every bit of support helps us create more content like this. At this point, the show cuts to a brief montage. Karoline's childhood in New Hampshire, her parents' small business selling ice cream and used trucks, the day she discovered politics, the moment she was offered the press secretary position. It's a cinematic break that the show's producers prepare to add color to this fiery guest. Voiceover. Karoline Leavitt grew up in a tight-knit family, learned business basics at an ice cream stand, and worked her way from small local campaigns to the White House. At 27, she's become the face of a presidential administration, one unafraid to ban major news outlets, impose tariffs on Canada, and broker a contentious peace with Russia. Critics say she's just a propaganda mouthpiece, but supporters call her a game changer for young conservatives. Back in the studio, the lights brighten on Colbert and Karoline once again. The image transitioned from montage to live discussion. Colbert clapping softly. That's quite a story, Karoline. Middle-class background to the White House podium. But let's not gloss over something huge. Trump's so-called peace deal with Russia over Ukraine. People say it was a cave-in to Putin. What's your defense? Karoline's expression hardens. This is a hot-button topic. Karoline, defense is simple. The war ended. Lives were saved. That's not a cave-in. That's leadership. Would you prefer we keep sending troops forever, draining our budget and losing American lives? Colbert, so you say it's smart to let Putin keep parts of Ukraine. Is that American strength, or is that giving him a free pass? Karoline, raising an eyebrow. Stephen, you call it giving a free pass. We call it a strategic move for peace. The American people wanted an end to that conflict. President Trump negotiated one. The alternative was endless escalation. The audience breaks into applause from one side, while the other side boos. Colbert nods thoughtfully. Colbert, let's be fair. Some Americans worry that letting Russia hold territory sets a dangerous precedent. What if next time another dictator thinks, I can do what I want, and the U.S. won't intervene? Karoline, exhaling slowly. Look, we can't solve every problem with bombs and boots on the ground. Trump leveraged our position to end a war. If that's weakness to some, so be it. The majority appreciate having their sons and daughters home safe. This back and forth intensifies as the studio lights shift. An overhead camera captures attention in Karoline's posture. Straight-backed, arms on the chair rests, unwavering confidence. Colbert paces, note cards in hand, determined not to let go of this line of questioning. Suddenly, Colbert flips to a new card, his voice dropping to a lower register. Colbert, Karoline, rumor has it that you'll defend Trump no matter what. Some even say you're more loyal than objective. So I have to ask, are you his press secretary or his personal puppet? A hush falls across the studio. Even the band stops shuffling in their seats. Karoline's eyes narrow. Karoline, puppet? That's cheap. I'm here because I believe in President Trump's vision. A strong economy, a government that stands up for Americans first, and a direct line to the public via social media. I'm not dancing for him. I'm standing with him. Colbert waving a hand. But do you ever disagree with him? For instance, if he's rarely wrong, as you say, that sounds like blind loyalty. Karoline leaning forward. Stephen, I've pushed back on details. But the big picture? Trump turned the economy around once. And he's doing it again. He brought peace in a region where no one else could. If that's rarely wrong, maybe he just knows what he's doing. The tension is at its highest. People in the audience shift in their seats, some leaning in, some crossing arms. A large group starts chanting Karoline, while others boo. This is primetime talk show drama. Remember, folks, we're not just about drama. We're about bringing you the real story. If you're finding this intense, hit that subscribe button. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, and your help makes all the difference. Colbert glances at the clock, aware that time is running. He decides to pivot to a key piece of Karoline's brand, her social media presence. Colbert, you keep mentioning TikTok and X. You got a combined following of what? Almost 1 million across platforms? Karoline, smiling. 728K on X. A bit more on TikTok. But who's counting? Colbert, you are. He waves a playful finger. Doesn't that turn the White House into an influencer hub? Are you running a government or a content channel? Karoline laughs lightly. Modern communication. Stephen, traditional media is outdated. People spend hours on their phones. Why not reach them where they are? That's transparency, not marketing. Colbert, but is it unfiltered truth or just your version? Karoline, it's direct. People can question me in the comments. They see my face, my words, unedited. Then they decide. That's more real than heavily edited TV segments. The audience applauds, some vigorously, others more reserved. Younger viewers in the crowd nod. Even those who dislike her politics can't deny that Karoline represents a changing media landscape. She's living proof of Gen Z's ability to shape the narrative via digital platforms. Colbert straightens his note cards again, prepared for one last big swing. Colbert, so you're the transparent young voice. Let's test that. When Trump banned AP and Reuters, calling them dishonest, is that your definition of letting the people decide? Because it sounds like censorship. Karoline sighing. It's not censorship to show them the door when they spin stories. The American public is free to follow them outside. Our administration simply won't reward dishonesty with prime access. No cap. Laughter breaks out at Karoline's use of the phrase no cap, bridging the generational gap in real time. Colbert, no cap. Wow, you really are leaning into that Gen Z brand. But you do realize that might alienate older Americans who still rely on mainstream media. Karoline, smiling confidently. I don't alienate them. They can watch me on TV if they want. But I won't force them to trust outlets that fail to uphold basic honesty. This is about expansion, not exclusion. The studio lights dim slightly for the final segment. Colbert, in a dramatic flourish, sets aside his note cards. Colbert, Karoline, we're almost out of time. You said you're not a puppet. You're loyal. You support Trump's moves on Canada, Ukraine, and the press. But do you realize how many Americans see you as the face of a White House that's chipping away at freedom of the press? Karoline squares her shoulders, her voice dropping just a notch in volume but gaining in intensity. Karoline, Stephen, let me be clear. I'm proud to be the face of an administration that demands honesty. If outlets can't handle it, that's on them. We're not chipping away at freedom. We're weeding out misinformation. I stand for a strong, free America, one that doesn't bow to foreign powers, hostile media, or outdated norms. Colbert, so that's it? You're telling the world, adapt or be left behind? Karoline, adapt or keep complaining while the world moves forward. That's the reality. And guess what? My generation will shape that future. With President Trump's leadership and my voice amplifying it, we're forging a path that works for America, like it or not. The band cues the show's outro music. The audience stands, half in applause, half in protest. Stephen Colbert thanks Karoline for joining, looking both intrigued and unsettled. Then the camera fades to commercial. Immediately after the show, social media explodes. Conservative commentators hail Karoline as the real deal, praising her unwavering stance. Liberal pundits rip into her, calling her approach dangerous propaganda. Hashtag Karoline versus Colbert trends on X, with memes, highlights, and heated debates lighting up every corner of the internet. What can we take away from this electrifying showdown? First, it illustrates the deepening divide between traditional media and new school digital strategies. Karoline leverages social platforms to control the narrative, bypassing gatekeepers she deems unfair. Second, it reminds us that today's political battles aren't just about policy, but about who gets to frame the conversation. Whether you see Karoline as a courageous truth-teller or a mouthpiece for censorship, there's no denying her impact as a Gen Z trailblazer in high-level politics. Finally, it highlights a vital principle. Communication is power. In our polarized era, controlling how information is shared and consumed can be as crucial as the policies themselves. This is a lesson we can all apply in our lives. Learn to tell your story, or someone else might tell it for you. Thank you for watching this intense recap of Karoline Leavitt's Late Night Showdown. If you found value in this story, hit that subscribe button. We need your help to reach 1,000 subscribers. And don't forget to click on the card on screen to catch our next big story, where we continue to explore the fiery intersections of politics, media, and culture. We'll see you there.